Thanks a lot for joining us again on TVC Breakfast. Well, the Yuletide is one of the busiest periods of the year. It's marked by widespread travel as people reunite with friends and family to celebrate. Unfortunately, it's also that time when road accidents and fatalities surge. In this report, we'll be examining the alarming rate of road accidents during the Yuletide in Nigeria, exploring the underlying causes and consequences.
Yuletide is here again, and people are getting ready to celebrate with their loved ones. It is also a period where roads become increasingly congested, leading to a surge in road accidents. According to the Federal Road Safety Corps, the number of road accidents increases significantly during the Yuletide. In 2022, the FRSC reported more than 1,000 road accidents during the Christmas and New Year celebrations. A report by the National Traffic Safety Administration says in 2022, there was more than 5 million police-reported traffic crashes, in which more than 42,000 people were killed and over 2 million people injured. To curb this menace of road accidents during the Yuletide, the FRSC has embarked on a nationwide campaign to ensure that vehicles are roadworthy. The Corps is also deploying more personnel to major highways to ensure traffic rules. As Nigerians embark on their journeys during the Yuletide, it is essential to prioritize road safety. Zainab Akonde, TVC News, Lagos.
Joining us now in the studio for this conversation is the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Shehu Mohammed. It's good to have you join us in the studio. Welcome. Right, and this is such an essential subject, but it is one we've always been having, especially during the Ember campaigns that FRSC diligently embarks on every year. Tell us about the thrust of this year's program.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome me to TVC Breakfast Show. We are on the Ember Month Special Patrol, which is a tradition, it's a culture.
Absolutely.
For Federal Safety Corps to execute special patrol. Tag zero patrol. Zero means zero tolerance to road traffic crash, to fatality, both death and injury.
Right.
And we're all aware that during the Ember months, these 4 months, including December, there used to be vehicular movement, massive vehicular movement of goods and passengers, to their destination to celebrate the Christmas and the New Year and some community activities. So this time around, the theme of the Ember Month Patrol is speak out or speak up against dangerous driving, because crashes kills more passengers than drivers. And we intend to organize and deploy all our arsenal, both the personnel and the material that we have on the ground, to the road, to create a free flow of traffic for the commuters to move to their destinations without hindrance. This time around, we are deploying 7,000 officers, including myself, the Corps Marshal, and the entire management to the road. 15,000, younger marshals to the other rank, and 35,000 voluntary special marshals.
Voluntary?
Voluntary. We call them voluntary because they are not paid.
Are they members of the Corps?
They are members of the Corps. They are the second tier of the Corps.
They are not paid?
They are not paid. We have the regular marshals, we have the special marshals, and we have the road safety clubs. So we have 3 tiers of marshals in road safety. This conglomerate that we're pushing to the road is to create and align and realign the patrol team, patrol officers and members to the road, so that we create more visibility, we increase our enforcement and performance. And not only the personnel, but also moving about 104 life support ambulances so that we give prompt attention to accident victims when crashes occur, give them first aid, and then take them to the nearest health facility for proper attention. And not only that, we're also deploying about 54 medium and medium-term tow trucks. The idea is to, remove obstructions. Maybe vehicles that, got faulty on the road and then block roads, or when there are crashes, vehicles block the road. We use those tow trucks to also move and create a free flow of traffic. It is also the same period that we use to intensify aggressive and robust, public education, sensitization, enlightenment, advocacy, so that will bring everyone on board to make sure that we create a free flow of traffic and a safe motoring environment for the whole period of Yuletide.
That's right. That's a whole lot. But then, if you look at studies, it actually shows that overspeeding contributes to 35% of road crashes that we experience in Nigeria. Yeah. And I recall that the FRC mandated speed limiters for commercial buses. I don't know how effective they've been, and are there plans to also extend this to private vehicles as well?
Yes. Part of the enforcement we are going to do for this Ember month is also enforcement of the speed limiting device. We achieved at least 50 to 60% success on the commercial vehicle, and we are looking forward, after review of what we have achieved so far, to also extend it to the private vehicles, private owners, so that at least all together, because it's a shared responsibility. It's not only for commercial, it's for all of us, wherever we are, to make sure that at least we have a free flow of traffic and create safe motoring environment for everyone.
But are we saying that all single vehicle moving on the on the roads across Nigeria, commercial vehicles, they actually have speed limiters installed on them? Is that the point?
We are still enforcing. It's a process. You cannot say that all of them have. Okay. Even though that also fitted it, they have a way
of tweaking it,
of probably making it not to work, just to circumvent the process and also be able to.
And that's responsible for the 50 to 60% rate of, is it compliance that you say you have recorded? Or are there other constraints that the agency is witnessing or experiencing?
On the limiting device?
Yes, on the mass enforcement or mass implementation of the speed limiters for commercial buses.
Well, the challenge is just that some of them, even when we enforce, because when we apprehend, we make sure that they fit the speed limiting device on their vehicle. But then compromise. And then also the companies that also produce those limiting devices, even though they are regulated by the Automobile Council of Nigeria, but at times you still have some one or two discrepancies where they circumvent the process and we're not able to put it onto where we want it to be.
But this year's theme is particularly centered on passengers, and that is interesting because you raised the key point that most of the people we see affected, the 30,000 deaths recorded annually or thereabouts, are usually, most of them are usually passengers and not the drivers. In some cases, you will even hear that the driver was nowhere to be found, would have absconded, leaving the passengers to their fate. How are you hoping to empower passengers to speak up? Because from my own experience, there is little or nothing, if you like, scream at the driver. But to what effect or what strategies are you using to empower passengers to help the corps in its job of reducing road crashes massively?
This time around, when we started the Ember Month campaign, we emphasized on reducing the garage rally. Then we introduced what we call press conferences for all our commanding officers everywhere where they are to interact with press and sensitize the passengers and the motoring public to say that, look, you have the right. You have the right to speak to the driver, to caution the driver, to make sure that he drives you to your destination as agreed. And we also introduced the mobile app. The mobile app will assist the driver, will assist the passenger and the motorist to be able to get the proper use of the road. This mobile app tells the driver and the passenger that you are speeding beyond the 100 kilometers, limit. It will also tell the driver and the passenger that, no, in front of you, there are black spots. So you need to take caution. It also tells the driver or the passenger that, well, you can use eyewitness report to report incidences to FRC direct. So those are the strategies we adopted that we can be able to make sure that those passengers are able to control their travel and enjoy their travel to their destinations.
Beyond using mobile app, if you look at countries like South Africa, they've actually successfully, integrated AI-based traffic monitoring systems. So, because I've heard about this mobile app, there was someone who spoke to some time ago. It was not operational, but now again, I guess it's operative, just like you mentioned. But so, how are you thinking of incorporating something like AI, based traffic monitoring systems to the Nigerian traffic monitoring, apparatus, so to speak?
The beauty of FRC, even on the first instance, is a technology-driven organization. So we'll continue to improve. What we are now thinking is to get adequate data of the passengers, the motorists, and then we'll continue to improve on our database.
How are you getting this data? Are you making use of the national identity number, or with what kind of collaboration are you getting? Are you working with the NIMC to get data, or is it the normal manual filling of personal data, at bus stops, or what do we call it?
No.
Motor parks, rather.
We have a database of all the drivers that we produce driver license for.
Okay.
We also have the data of the number plate that we have issued the state for dispatch to the motorist. And then we also have an interface with the NIN, the National Identity Management Agency. We're also collaborating with the Population Commission now to see that all our data are harmonized in such a way that at the click of the hand, we can be able to get whatever we want to get as far as adequate data is concerned. So once we get to that level, we can be sure that, yes, we are going to integrate all the... In fact, we are looking at a situation where we don't need to stop vehicles on the road. We use device to capture all the data that we want, and then we send the ticket either to address, maybe resident address or office address, or even when you are coming back for renewal.
Drivers, but not to passengers.
Is it just for the drivers?
For the drivers.
Okay.
For the motorists that normally fly the road.
So not just commercial drivers, but even airing motorists.
Every motorist.
But before that day comes, let's also look at some of the issues. This is a critical agency talking about tickets for airing for offenders, traffic offenders. One key issue, because we know there will be a lot of monitoring at this time, even before Ember campaigns. Your operatives, you all are always on the road at strategic areas. Let's talk about the issue of this feeding motor driving plates, number plates, that is. Many motorists are complaining, many Nigerians are, complaining that, okay, wear and tear, why should we bear the brunt of wear and tear of faded plate numbers and all of that? What is the agency's position on that? And is there a way for people to walk around it so they won't fall on the wrong side of the law?
We have received complaints on the faded number plate, and every system is a process, and it has a process of improvement. We are doing everything possible to make sure that we address those challenges of faded number plate. And we also look at the last part of the number plate. In Nigeria, you see a motorist driving a vehicle for 20 years. Yes, some even more. So you don't expect a number plate to last 30 years or even more, as we used to do. And then there are chemicals. When we use chemicals to wash our vehicles. It's also aided the fading of those number plates. But again, we initiated a process for renewal of those. And what we charge, we're even looking at probably bringing back your number plate so that we give you a new one without even a charge, without even a fee. We're looking toward that.
Is that in place already? Okay, not yet.
In the near future. That's what we are looking at.
The quality of the production of these number plates, I don't know, actually this
matters.
It really matters because sometimes there's some people that have been stopped, on the roads, like, why is the number plate, faded?
Faded, yeah.
And the person will be wondering, like, I didn't issue these myself, so why are you asking me this question? So could you speak to this? What exactly led to the, quality being reduced? Is it due to, I don't know, maybe economic challenges on the side of the producers?
And come to think of it, we also see discrepancies. Maybe in Lagos, for example, now there is a striking difference in number plates as against, plate numbers issued in other states. So could that be an issue?
No, it's not an issue. Lagos State have a number plate plant, which they produce their own. But they synchronize and also issue the data that they use to FRC. We are the custodian of all the national vehicle identification, scheme data. Okay. But then Lagos is peculiar, and because they have the capacity, they were able to also, have their plant, and we agreed. There's an MOU, and we are working, we are collaborating, and we are getting all the data that we are supposed to get to make it harmonize with our data. So virtually, there's no issue with Lagos, printing the number plate. And then you can even see that the figures and the characters are the same. And also the size are the same. Virtually, there's nothing much different between the one we produce in Abuja and Lagos and the one Lagos State produce.
Okay, so at this busy time of the year, we hope for more engagement with you, and members of the public especially. But at this time of the year, you've already spoken to the fact that your operatives, you as well, will be on the, on the expressways across the country. Welfare is an issue. And again, you said there will be a category of
volunteers,
core of officers who will also be on the roads but will not be paid. And so help us speak to that issue. What's the package like? How enhanced is the welfare package? Because these are people that work odd hours, and so what's it like for them? So we don't get to see frustrated officers on the road, and members of the public will be at their mercy.
Well, the second tier category of FRC marshals, that is the voluntary special marshals, those ones are people of integrity. People, belonging to their communities that decide voluntarily to say, oh, we want to reduce road traffic crashes. So we are aligning with FRC as members to support FRC. So they are not getting paid. In fact, they are using their time, their intellect, their funds to support FRC in wherever they are. The regular marshals, both the officers and marshals that are going to be deployed, every year government normally support FRC with funds for servicing of our vehicles, for the foiling of our vehicles, and then for moving around. We have a package that we normally give to them every month, every year when they are engaged in this special patrol. And this year will not be an exception. We're going to do it.
Right. Apart from that, fatigue and stress are major contributors to road crashes, especially for commercial drivers. So I'm not sure whether FRC has, programs to address some of these mental health and encourage driving breaks, just for them to rest. Because this is a time where some people want to meet deadline, like I have to make money, and they are always on the road morning, night, and evening. So what kind of program or programs do you have tailored to address these issues of mental health, overdriving, or overusing of one's body?
Nigerians have initiatives. You can agree with me that in some part of the country, there are already some special race parks, like Kaduna, along Kaduna, Kano Road, there are about 2 or 3. Even between Ibadan and Lagos, I think there are 1 or 2. Not government owned. we are partnering because I'm a member of FEMA board, and we always write report and collaborate with Federal Ministry of Works to make sure that we create those rest packs for motorists and drivers to be able to stop and have a rest, if it is for 1 hour or even 30 minutes, so to get refreshed to be able to, because most of the crashes that are normally occur is because of the fatigue, as you said, and we keep on giving them, recommendation, and they assure us that they are going to work on it. More rest parks, rest areas are going to be built along the major highways, especially this coastal road that is going to be built between Lagos to Calabar. There's already that provision for the coastal, for the rest areas to be, to be constructed and then provided on the.
Interesting stuff. So I'm just, since you've been talking, I've been looking at the, the way you dress, so smart, you're looking amazing. So I'm wondering how your men on the road are quite interested in adding firearms to their outlook. Are you also subscribing to the fact that I'm looking so good, so handsome, and I just need to bear arms? Do you want to scare your people away?
Oh, well, it's not like that. 100% I subscribe to FRC having arms. In fact, we have provision in our acts to hold arms. Most of us have gone for training, some in Jaji, some in other formations of the army, to be able to hold these arms. But what we are saying is, give us squad. Not everyone is going to hold arms, just a squad, so that we protect ourselves. If you remembered when this NSAS started, or when it happens, we are also soft target to attack. Most of our offices were vandalized. Most of our men were also maimed. And you can see today how drivers, murderous drivers, I can call them, running over our men while on patrol, running over them deliberately. So we have, for years, over 35 years, we have been suffering from, murderers that kill our men. Remember, we recruit from the same space. We are Nigerians. We have the right to live. We have the right to protect ourselves. But then we are not given that opportunity. The arm is to deter. Okay. Even without using the arm, when somebody sees you with arm, you take caution to approach you. So it's to deter those murderous drivers, those murderous motorists that normally attack our personnel and kill them. Remember, we also have families. Those that were killed have families. They were left in agony for years. So many things. So we are calling, because it's a shared responsibility. The safe system approach that we are advocating and advocated by the United Nations is to reduce road traffic accidents by 50% and to create an environment where even when crashes occur, there shouldn't be death or serious injury. So if we are into safety to make no death and no injury, no serious injury, why can't we also protect ourselves so that we don't have death, to be able to continue to give safety and security? We are the first line of call when you come to the road. Criminals, they use road, and they were always on the road. So I think we need to get that support from the citizen to be able to get that squad, so that if there are issues, the patrol can call that squad to come and support them, so that we live.
Oh, so that's the idea. They will not be there on that portion of the road. So the regular officers will not be armed.
Will not be armed.
But it's
a squad.
How productive? How productive is that going to be, considering road networks, considering the state of the roads? How productive is that going to be if we have that on ground? Because these people are not on the roads after all. How will that protect those officers on the road?
We have 37 sector commands in each, that means each per state. And then we have close to 300 unit commands spread across the nation. So we, in fact, we operate in such a way that between 5 to 6 kilometers, there is either an outpost or a unit command or a zebra corridor where we provide support for the crash victims. So we have the commands and the formations that we can be able to get attention immediately if there are issues as far as insecurity is concerned. for us to give ourselves support. So it can work.
What present mechanisms are there at the moment? Because this is an ongoing conversation. The public is, the feedback we are getting is that the public says we have too many armed operatives on the road already. But, you know, with this explanation that you are giving, it's also a cost, because yes, minimize road crashes, but then the safety of operatives is also paramount. So perhaps there will be need for more communication, you know, across all the divides. But currently now, how are operatives protected on the roads? What if they meet an erratic driver or they meet an armed driver and, you know, the worst happens? What existing protection mechanisms are available now?
We collaborate with the sister agencies, the police, the civil defense, and even the army. So when such incidences happens, we normally call them to come and give us support.
But it's not perfect.
It's not perfect.
Okay.
And just yesterday, the ICPC, you know, are given the mandate to also have a squad. ICPC, just yesterday. And by next week, we are going to, the National Assembly are going to stage the this public hearing on this issue. And we are sure that we are going to get more support, because we are also Nigerians. The staff of FRC are also Nigerians, and we are 35 years old.
So do you think your argument is enough to convince Nigerians and not to confuse them? Because when you said you've also been subject of attack, and then it was sounding as if it's going to be a vendetta of some sort, like, no, you guys killed us and we just have to face it back. But, you know, you've given very subtle and, you know, convincing, I would say, arguments, you know, in this regard. But do you think it's enough to convince Nigerians who are actually calling on the National Assembly that, listen, do not listen to these guys, don't give them firearms? What exactly do you think you need to do differently, and the government needs to do differently to ensure that at least they're able to bear, you know, you have your squad, you know, just as they put it?
Well, we should look at even vigilantes in some states have arms. Virtually everybody now has arms.
Is this a peculiar Nigerian situation?
Not official. Yes. But then we are saying, give us a squad to protect ourselves.
Is this a peculiar Nigerian situation, or is this world standard? Is this how it should be?
For some of us that travel wide, wherever you go, you find that road traffic police have their pistol by their side. Even if they don't stop you, they have their pistol. In Europe, in UK, in Saudi Arabia, in many places. That's the standard. Is to deter, not to use it against the citizens. They are also citizens. The citizens are your friends. Especially with that, we have a shared responsibility, collective responsibility, and holistic with the public. We cannot do without the public, and all what we are doing is saving lives. What we just need is just attention. We need attention, we need funding, and together we'll just do more, we'll get it better, and then we reduce and save more lives. That's just the essence of having those arms, not to go on the road and, you know, harass the motoring public. Not at all.
All right.
We are working for them.
All right. That's a fine place to rest our conversation. Corps Marshal, Federal Road Safety Corps, Shehu Mohammed, we thank you very much for your time with us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you very much.